This video is about a half-hour long video that supposedly was sourced from a VHS tape that was found in the late 1980s or maybe even early 1990s. It was dubbed and redubbed for circulation and sale among bootleg collectors, often under the table at horror conventions or through mail-order tape trading communities.
As you might find around the jaw, it might be left there. Okay, so when you bring out the jaw, so I'll show you later. I'm in the real confidence of it.
Sometimes the tape was even sold in a video compilation along with other gruesome home videos, often bearing the title, "Ensuring Your Place in Hell."
So you can lose it real fast, alright? So when you find it, okay, the jaw is usually like that, around this shape, okay? It's like
the source of the original footage, as well as the identity of the young man in the video, still remains unknown, even up to 3 decades later.
This is one of the strangest unsolved mysteries of all time. In 1952, 9 Russian hikers who were all super experienced set off into the Ural Mountains. However, the path that they chose to take on the hike was pretty hard, even for hikers as experienced as them. And to make things worse, they ran into a severe snowstorm that night. So all 9 of the hikers decided to set up their tents and try and wait out the storm. However, at some point during that night, the hikers cut open their tents from the inside and set off into the snowstorm. All 9 of them began to head towards some trees that were nearby their campsite. And this is where the story gets really creepy. A few days later, 3 of the 9 campers were found dead in the trees. And at the base of these trees, there were a bunch of claw marks and scratches on the trunks. And the 6 other hikers were also all found dead, scattered around the area. And upon testing them, their skin and clothes appeared to be radioactive.
Have y'all heard about these creatures that they found in the ocean, y'all? And about a whole nother world that is in the ocean that basically is like a parallel universe / like, you know, upside down universe, like literally like Stranger Things. And these creatures that they saw under the water, like, were anything we've ever seen as humans. So basically, an explorer went down to the bottom of the ocean and discovered this vortex. And this vortex is what they're saying is the portal to this upside down parallel universe, and where the extraterrestrial life form is even living at. Like, this is where they're from, the ocean. Y'all, honestly, all this information is not new to me because I've been into this stuff for so long, but this is crazy. I believe it's called an abyssal vortex, so look it up if y'all want to. But it's, when you look into this kind of stuff, it really starts making sense even more as they come out with the information. The U.S. government is even saying that there is proof of other life forms. I just want to see the aliens.
The visit to his Encino house was very impromptu, and it was kept a secret by my mother. And I had always been, about 2 years ago, I changed it legally to Dave, to liberate myself from my father and to establish myself as an artist. It was kind of like an artistic decision to do that. And a lot of people.
This photo seems like a lovely photo of a grandmother and her granddaughter while in Alaska until you zoom in and you see something peculiar. This photo was taken in 1982 and was sent in by Lori of her mother-in-law and her niece, and what appears to be another little tiny person in between them. Right here, it even looks like the tiny person is holding on to her leg. Now, yes, this is a grainy photo. This photo was taken in 1982. It wasn't taken by a fancy cell phone or anything like that, so this is what we have. Supposedly, the niece had been talking about her little friend the whole time. She could see him, no one else could. She knew that he was in the photo. So when they got the photo back, she was excited to show them that her little friend that she was talking about was there the whole time. So I was curious if there were any kind of little people stories from Alaska or anything like that. So I did some research and I found out about this. I'm not even going to try to say it. I couldn't find anywhere online how to properly pronounce it, so I don't want to mess it up. But this is what they are referred to as. The story goes that they hide underground and they're mischievous. They like to get into things and cause trouble, but they will make friends with little kids. But they also like to take little kids. There is one story that I found of a little boy that was taken. They just kind of like messed with him and just did a bunch of mischievous, kind of mean things to him, but then brought him back. There's also a story of two hunters that were out hunting for caribou, and they saw across the way on a ridge a caribou get taken down by these four little people. They said that they were about knee high, which is about how tall this is. They saw them pick up the caribou and move it, which they said would be impossible. So they waited until they were finished doing what they were doing, and they went over there and they couldn't even find like a drop of any kind of remains to prove that the caribou was there, even though both of them had seen it. What do you think? Do you think that this family caught one of these little people on film? Because this is about the same height as what they've been reported as being. The little girl swore that the little person was there the whole time. So what do you guys think? If you like stories like this, like, share, comment, follow for more.
This is the greatest unsolved mystery in FBI history. On November 24th, 1971, Dan Cooper was riding in the back of a plane. He called a stewardess over and showed her a bomb he had in his briefcase. His demands were simple. He wanted $200,000 and 4 parachutes. After landing in Seattle, Cooper exchanged the 36 passengers for the money and parachutes. He then ordered the pilots to fly to Reno, Nevada. During this flight, Cooper told the crew to go into the cockpit and lock the door. After they landed in Reno and came out of the cockpit, Cooper and the bomb were nowhere to be found, and the stairway was left extended. At some point between Seattle and Reno, Dan Cooper jumped into the dark of night, never to be seen again. There have been suspects through the years, but none of them turned out to be Cooper, and this means that
nobody has yet managed to explain the disappearance of the 5 guys who were swimming in the Lake Michigan. Last spring, a group of 5 friends went to the shore of the lake next to Green Bay to have a little party. Come midnight, they're like, let's take a dip. And in they go. But not even 5 minutes later, one of them starts yelling for help. And then, poof, silence. Dude disappears in a lake that's stretching 350 miles. The next day, some shredded up clothes are floating around, so the cops send down 3 divers to crack the case. But oh boy, they didn't see what was coming. Down under, the divers find some eerie stuff. Dead fish are everywhere, way more than you'd expect. Then one diver spots what looks like one of the missing people. He decided to get closer, but suddenly, from the bottom of the lake, a giant lamprey appears, devouring the diver while he's still alive. The other divers rush over, but it's too late. They only snag a piece of his gear. The whole nightmare was caught on the diver's camera. But trust me, it's a horror show you might want to skip. Even though you can watch it by clicking here on more and on photos.
My grandpa is the motherfucking Zodiac killer, and this is not clickbait. So please, I need the power of the internet to share this, bookmark it, and blow my comment section up. I want to start off by saying this is not just based off physical appearance. I typed in my grandpa's name on Google the other day, and to my fucking surprise, internet sleuths have been throwing my grandpa's name around for years, connecting him as the Zodiac motherfucking killer. As you can see here in all these pictures on the screen somewhere, that it looks exactly like my grandpa. Let's talk about it. My grandpa was a Vallejo police officer. Yes, the same area where the Zodiac killer's fucking killings took place. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the Darlene Sharon murder. Let me tell you, this is not in any order, but the more evidence I give you, you are going to be convinced that my grandpa is in fact the Zodiac killer. Darlene Farron and her boyfriend Mike or Matt, forgot the fucking guy's name, were driving around Vallejo one night, the night that my grandfather happened to be on duty, driving an unmarked police car and wearing plain clothes. Mike, who ended up surviving the shooting, said that they were being followed around by this car all night in Vallejo before they pulled into Blue Rock Springs. They said when they parked, the car pulled in, a man hopped out of the car, and Darlene, the girl who passed away, said, "Oh my God, that's Richard. He's gonna kill us both." Apparently, she was dating a police officer in Vallejo behind her husband's back. She was apparently a thotty. Rest in peace, Darlene Farron. So this guy in her passenger seat is one of her many boyfriends. And it was well known by her friend group that she was dating a Vallejo cop, although she never told them the name. She had a painting party at her house a few weeks before her murder, and it was said that my grandfather, Richard Hoffman, showed up uninvited, and she told her circle of friends that she is scared to death of him, and he was not invited there. My grandpa denies these claims. He says he never laid eyes on her, but then later goes on to say, "I know that she worked at a restaurant locally here in Vallejo." How the fuck have you never laid eyes on her, Grandpa? You tell me about that. Let's move forward. As Mike said, right before they got shot, she said, "That's Richard. He's going to kill us both." My grandpa's name is fucking Richard Hoffman. Now let's talk about something else that I thought was really weird. In a letter that the Zodiac wrote, and my grandpa's police reports, and also this poem that I'm going to talk about later, my grandpa spells the word until wrong. He spells it wrong. He puts 2 L's at the end. Where in multiple letters of the Zodiac wrote, he also spells until with 2 L's at the motherfucking end. Well, let's talk about the Sherry Bates murder that took place a couple years before the Darlene Farron murder. She was in a library doing her homework. She had just moved from Nebraska. Nebraska, why do I mention that? Because my grandpa lived in Nebraska. My mother, biological mother, was born in Nebraska. My grandpa was also in the Navy. Sherry Bates' brother was also in the Navy. This is weird, right? It's all coming together. Well, this murder took place. She was at the library studying one night. She leaves and gets shot up, where they found a poem handwritten underneath a motherfucking desk. And forensic analysis and handwriting analysis say that is the exact writings of the Zodiac, and they say that this is possibly the first killing that the Zodiac ever did. Well, this letter was initialed RH at the very bottom. RH, Richard Hoffman. Forensic analysis experts said that that letter was written by the Zodiac. So why is no one connecting this to my motherfucking grandpa? Somebody tell me why. It is said that my grandpa and Darlene, the one who got shot in Blue Rock Springs, had a romantic sexual relationship behind everybody's back, behind my grandma's back. Let's talk about his character. My grandpa's character, he was known in my family to be abusive, controlling, manipulating, and also unfaithful to my grandmother. Now we're going to sit here and pretend that my grandpa didn't do this shit. They also say that the crime scene was tampered with. Why did Darlene's family get a call that she was shot before the cops even knew about it? And that call was placed by a payphone outside of Vallejo Police Department. Someone tell me that. And my grandpa was first on scene to that shooting. And later it was revealed that that scene was tampered with. My grandpa showed up on scene within 5 minutes of the shooting being reported. He sent away the officers that responded with him. Who sends away responding officers on a possible double murder? And the crime scene was tampered with. It was later revealed. So you're still going to tell me my grandpa is not the Zodiac killer. What are we going to do about it? I don't fucking know. My grandpa's on vacation in a grave somewhere. But I'm convinced.